Well, since I'm gonna be stuck here a while, I guess I can review Zombies Ate My Neighbors. How fitting. Shut up! But before I review the game, I'm gonna look up its Wikipedia article and read from it in order to bloviate my content, which will increase my video output and hopefully attract more viewership. The year is 1993. The zombies are rising, and so am I. So get ready for the spookiest and horniest... Wait, what the fuck? That wasn't the Wikipedia for Zombies Ate My Neighbors. That was the Wikipedia for Zombies Ate My Wife's Ass, and that's not a video game. Okay, maybe the Wikipedia thing was a bad idea, but I need to get my numbers up if I'm gonna pay rent. Then again, if my roommate is a zombie now, he's not gonna care about money. He's only gonna care about brains, which is very progresso of him. Zombies Ate My Neighbors is a game where zombies try and eat your neighbors, and let me tell you, this game is massive for a Genesis title. There are 55 stages which the game touts immediately, and there are tons of enemies as well as weapons and gameplay mechanics to cover, so let's get busy. Now when you first start the game, you get to select between two characters. It's a battle of the sexes, and I'm gonna be honest ladies, you win. Seriously, I've never been a fan of this fellow right here. This fellow right here with his stupid ass Bart Simpson hair, black skull shirt, and 3D glasses. Look, I get it. 3D glasses are cool in horror movies or whatever, but this guy just irritates me, dude, and I can tell you exactly why. It's because he reminds me of this weird kid that used to go to the same babysitter as me, and he's always like digging old shitty peanut butter crackers out of the couch and eating them even if they were covered in hair and dirt, and he wouldn't shut up about dinosaurs and motorbikes, and he smelled like farts, and his name was Cody. So like, fuck this guy and fuck you, Cody. Alright, I know the sprite is like an icon when it comes to Sega, but I genuinely like the chick sprite better. She's got a cool hat, and she kind of looks like a Pokemon trainer. Also, when you turn into the big purple badass, you're still wearing the hat, and to me, that's pretty much a deal breaker. Now, there's no real difference between the two characters gameplay-wise. It's strictly aesthetic. The goal of the game is to rescue your neighbors from, well, all kinds of creatures. Now, the thing about your neighbors in this game is that none of them have any desire to preserve or defend themselves whatsoever. They're literally carrying on like it's a lazy Sunday while werewolves and fish people eat their children. Speaking of children, there are a lot of abandoned children in these neighborhoods. Who's letting these kids run around in the zombie apocalypse like this? Like, this chick is just grilling wieners 4 feet away from a child that is completely unattended. Hey mod, set down the spatula, you've got a fucking half-naked 3-year-old wobbling around next to zombies and chainsaw-wielding serial killers. But at least we know that when a baby dies in this game, they go to heaven, as is signified by the horrifying ghost angel that slithers from their tiny corpses. In fact, everyone who dies in this game goes to heaven, so they must have made their decision for Christ. I know for a fact this gentleman did because he's got the cross tatted right on his arm. I also love that he's just chilling in the swimming pool during a zombie apocalypse. Yeah, you just keep enjoying yourself, Bill. No need to worry about the 40 lost children waddling around like dipshits. Self-preservation is key to surviving, and those kids are just gonna have to fend for themselves. Especially since the soldiers in this game have dropped their weapons and given up entirely on defending the neighborhood. But hey, at least they're reacting to the things going on around them. Everyone else is too apathetic to even react to the monsters destroying their neighborhood. What is this, Xanax apocalypse? Look, I'm no survival expert, and I'm not gonna act like I'd know precisely what to do during a zombie apocalypse, but standing idle in a shopping mall filled with sentient axe-wielding dolls and giant fucking ants seems kinda counterproductive when it comes to, you know, living. At least old Mrs. Kremblesnoot is keeping education alive. I mean, the dead are walking the earth. Werewolves are shredding the flesh of her loved ones, but here she stands, tall and firm with the wind at her back, scolding the abyss for failing its book report, giving lunch detention to anyone or anything that stands... Oh, she's dead. Don't worry though, there's a lot of teachers in this neighborhood. We can afford to lose a couple of them. Oh look, straight Fs, it's middle school all over again. Anyways, the only civilians in this game that make any effort to defend themselves are the football players. That's right, the Chads pull through in the end so you can all forgive them for the atomic wedgies, or maybe they're doing it for the cheerleaders. Yeah, it's probably the cheerleaders. Nothing in life is more motivating than the female Frisiania, except for cheese. Brie cheese. Alright, now that we've established that the people in this game are pretty much dead weight, let's talk about the creatures trying to kill them. You've got zombies, mummies, werewolves, pod people, swamp creatures that explode into fish when you kill them, so you know that's cool. Give a man a fish he can eat for a day. Teach a man to shoot a spontaneously combusting swamp person in the face and he can eat for about a week. There's also weeds. Giant weeds. Fucking hell, dude. Thank God for weed whackers. Or thank George C. Ballas Sr. for weed whackers. Thank God for tallywhackers. Now, the aliens in this game are fast, spastic, have ray guns that trap you in orange bubbles, and are incredibly annoying, but they can be killed in just one hit. They've also got air support in the form of a lightning-wielding mothership. This thing just stays right up your ass for the entirety of the stage. It's obstructive, obnoxious, and it's in every single Martian stage. Holy shit, just look at this chaos, dude. Wait, are these cheerleaders seriously cheering during an alien invasion? Jeez, talk about dedication. I'm sure they're suggesting that I be aggressive. Be aggressive. Anyways, you've also got vampires, Frankenstein monsters, and this guy who I believe is Dr. Tongue because he's... I mean, do I really gotta explain it? But I'm pretty sure that the vampire and Frankenstein monster enemies are mini-bosses because holy sweet mother of Zelnaga do these guys have a lot of health, and their abilities far exceed any of the other enemies in the game. There's also blobs that have the ability to drop goop from the sky, which does damage over time and prevents you from using weapons and items. Oh shit, oh god, these things are frustrating, and they seem to be immune to most of the weapons in the game, but of course you can kill them with a fire extinguisher, just like in the movies. There's also tiny mushroom men who I actually think are really cute, and tiny spiders who I actually think are giant cunts. Seriously, look how fast these assholes are. They're not a very big threat to you as a player, but they're a nightmare when it comes to civilians because they can find and kill them before you can say supercalifragilistic. Fuck! Now, opposite of tiny spiders, there's giant ants. Oh, gee, holy fuck, dude. Fuck off! These guys are very effective at reaching and killing civilians, and they can pick up and carry off items they find on the ground, but that can sometimes be advantageous because the item will occasionally become glitched and duplicate. Oh cool! Moving on to the chainsaw guys. These dudes are even more relentless than the ants, and they seem to want your blood even more than the vampires. They're fast, have tons of health, can cut through any of the destructible walls in the game, and are extremely difficult to kill. These enemies can be knocked down, but they get up quick, and once they do, they're right back in the fight. In fact, I can only remember killing a chainsaw dude once during my entire time playing this game. I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but after he fell down, he exploded, which is how my grandfather died. God, I almost forgot about the cabinet ghost. Also known as the original #1 fuckboy, scrotum licker, shit-lipped ass fish. These poltergeists are in a league of their own, dude. You never know when they're gonna show up, but you know that they will, and when they do, you're gonna take a hit. You see, one of the cool things that you can do in this game is search for items and weapons by looking under sinks, opening cabinets, moving piles of dirt, and using keys to unlock chests. It's a really cool gameplay element that's almost completely ruined by this purple dwangus. You see, you're not guaranteed an item when you search these houses and dirt piles. You could end up empty-handed. You could also end up taking damage. Don't worry though, it's totally random. Here, let me show you.
And now it's time for the 7 stages of taking damage from the big purple ghost, aka the original #1 fuckboy, scrotum licker, shit-lipped ass fish. Stage 1, shock.
Dude, what? Okay, that was unexpected.
Stage 2, denial.
Oh my... Alright, well that's 2 in a row, so it's not likely to happen again.
Stage 2.5, dude, come on.
Dude, come on! Dude, oh my... Dude, oh my god, dude.
Stage 3, anger.
Fuck!
Stage 4, bargaining.
For fuck's sake!
No, wait, that's still anger.
Dude, are you fucking kidding me?
Okay, that's also anger. I think the rest is just anger.
Moving on, let's talk about killer dolls. These little fellas are pretty damn tough for a small enemy. They're fast, can duck under the RPG, throw an unlimited number of axes at you, and worst of all, they're constantly yelling... That sound bit has been driven into the deepest part of my brain, and I can only assume it will randomly activate violent conniptions throughout the remainder of my life. Oh yeah, the dolls can also survive being killed and wander around on fire until they're killed again, which is just a beautiful reference to our good friend Chucky. And speaking of references, this game is the ultimate bastion of references. But look, we're not gonna play reference roulette right now. You know damn well that Sauron's army of sweaty neckbeards have been blogging about the film references in Zombies Ate My Neighbors since 1993, and we should appreciate the Nazgul for their work. Anyways, it's time to talk about the bosses. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this game has bosses, the first of which is a gargantuan infant who I can only assume just finished snorting a mile-long line of cocaine. How the fuck did this happen? Look, any parent will tell you that children are small and easily misplaced, but how could you possibly leave this thing unsupervised? It's 3 stories tall. Wait a minute, wasn't there a movie called Honey, I Blew Up the Baby? Not like with dynamite, with a ray gun and the baby's all huge and it tips over trucks and stuff? I don't know. The 90s were a fucking fever dream. But I digress. Somebody injected a 5-gallon drum's worth of meth into this kid's ankle and now he's our problem. Like I was just running around stomping on other babies. This kid has no allegiances, dude. He will destroy anyone who gets in his way. Jesus Christ, what is motivating this child? I mean, other than crack. How am I supposed to defeat this thing? Fucking giant meth baby's OP, dude. Nerf this asshole. God, I really wish you could strafe while shooting in this game. Look, I care more about the ability to shoot behind you while running than I do about shooting at an angle in any top-down game. I can tell you that much, but in all honesty, even with the ability to strafe, this boss fight would still be terrible. The point is, a baby this big would never move like that. It would probably just die under the weight of its gigantic fucking head. This boss fight sucks, so let's move on to the sandworms. Or, should I say, snakeoids? Gee, I wonder what they're referencing. Dude, these things take forever to kill. But don't take my word for it, let's enjoy the experience of killing one of these giant worms together, right now, in real time.
How did you know his name? It's not that complex, Patrick. She spoke slowly as if she were explaining something to a 5-year-old. Bastion Taylor is the governor of North Carolina. It's called logic. So true. Finally!
Oh yeah, and I almost forgot to mention, you've got to kill 3 of them. That's right, in order to beat the stage, you have to do that 3 times. Oh yeah, there's also a giant spider boss fight, but I didn't have much trouble with that fight because I had a lot of weapons and items to spare, and it was pretty much spray and pray on my end. Speaking of weapons and items, there are tons of them in this game. Your default weapon is a squirt gun, for which you can find plenty of ammo, but it's not very strong. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a weed whacker, which is ideal for whacking weeds, a fire extinguisher that you can use to freeze enemies, kill blobs, and of course, extinguish a fire, a bazooka which can blast through almost anything, including doors in case you're low on keys, soda which seems to be super effective against the dolls and can also cause diabetes, golden crosses which seem to be effective against literally everything. There's also tomatoes, popsicles, footballs, plates, and silverware, which seems to be effective against mummies and werewolves. As for the items, you've got keys for opening doors and chests, clown balloons for distracting tough enemies, and speed shoes in case you gotta go fast. Then there's like this small chest that plays church music, which kills zombies. I guess that makes sense. I mean, nobody likes church music, dude, not even God. The question mark potions are a gamble. They contain a variety of random effects and could even turn you into a zombie for a short period of time. They could also improve your health, or they could make it worse, but you're not gonna know which until you consume one. It's kinda like your mom's cooking. Oh, sick burn. There's also a potion that makes you invulnerable for a short period of time, but I hate that potion because you can't do anything while it's active. I like to call it the Uncle Ralph potion, because just like my Uncle Ralph, it won't let me jump on a fucking trampoline. The red potion transforms you into some kind of big purple monster who can punch the shit out of anything in its path. It can smash through walls, break down doors, and is completely impervious to all damage from enemies, but it can't swim. Just like Uncle Ralph. Uncle Ralph once staged a crime scene. Speaking of stages, the stages in this game vary in their size and structure. There are many different types of buildings, walls, fences, bodies of water, and multiple hedge mazes. In fact, the stages tend to be very maze-like in general, which isn't really an issue early on. However, during the later stages, the enemies become more aggressive in their pursuits, and the maze aspect becomes important here because you need to be able to avoid or eliminate enemies at a much higher rate. It can be very frustrating, and I've never been a fan of maze-like stages. Anyways, the maze-like stages aren't the only complaint I have about this game. I mean, I can't for the life of me excuse the sheer amount of health that the bosses have, and the genuine issues with the snakeoid fights, as well as the baby. There's also the respawn rate for certain enemies. The zombies are obnoxious, of course, but I won't even fuck with the dolls. If you're in an area with a large amount of spawn points for killer dolls, it's best to just avoid it completely, because they can spawn faster than you can kill them. Oh my god. I also wish the game had an actual save system instead of codes, but hey, then you wouldn't get little 4-letter codes like this one that subliminally force funny words into your brain. Anyways, let's not get carried away with the criticism here. I'm further than I've ever been in the game right now, and I'm about to find out what's behind door number 39. Worms? Fuck. This is where I'd normally cut together a dramatic boss fight, but this is about as dramatic as this boss fight gets. Oh, fuck! Damn it.
Well, I think that's about as far as I'm going to get in this game, because as much as I want to know what's behind that door, I should probably be a little more concerned with what's behind that door. Also, I've been trapped in this room for like a month, and Taco Bell closes in an hour. Oh, hey, the power's back on. Peter? Who's there? Reveal yourself! Sam?
Wait, where's the zombie?
Oh, it's dead. Like not undead dead, like extra dead. What happened?
Oh, our neighbors were zombies.
The Romeros?
Yeah, remember Martha with the skin condition? Yeah, well, wasn't a skin condition.
That explains a lot. Anyways, I'm going to Taco Bell. You want anything?
Taco Bell, oh yeah, delicious taco, hell yeah, indigestion, oh no, diarrhea, not again.
So, what's my shitty opinion on one of the most iconic old school video games ever in the history of the 90s ever? Honestly, I initially wanted to give this game a 3 out of 5. Whoa, hold on there, kids. Before you unsubscribe, at least hear me out. I've always been told this game is a must-play by hipsters foaming at the mouth, and yet I never took the time to sit down and play it, and because of that, there are two major reasons I initially disliked this game. Reason number 1, hipsters. Reason number 2, my expectations were greatly different from the reality of the game, and that was very upsetting to me. However, after multiple playthroughs of Zombies Ate My Neighbors, I realized that I'd probably be giving this game 5 out of 5 had I played it growing up. That's not excusing its flaws, but it's not fair for me to say this game is overrated when it can successfully pull me back in after my initial disappointment. I mean, I really started to understand the love for this game as I played it, when I had no initial love for it, and although I never played the game growing up, I could totally see a 7-year-old me playing this game alone at night with the lights off, night after night, slowly progressing, learning and adapting to the shitty boss fights, discovering which weapons and items were most effective against enemies and obstacles, and eventually conquering all 55 stages. And you know what else? I could see myself coming back to it years later and still having fun. It's very interesting to me that the horror movie element to this game could warm my heart as much as it did, but this game has a charm that goes beyond simple nostalgia. A ton of time and energy went into making this game, and it shows through the destructible environment, huge variety of enemies, weapons, and items, and the fantastic artwork and animations. And although the game might not be very impressive by today's standards, I can guarantee you it was an absolute blast to most of the people that played it during its prime. So, in my opinion, I'd have to give Zombies Ate My Neighbors 4 ass worms out of 5. Now don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comments section below. And if you really enjoyed these reviews and would like to see more of them, please consider donating to my Patreon so that I can afford rent.
And now it's time for Comments with Peter, the part of the show where Peter reads your stupid fucking comments.
All my friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for it.
Welcome to an extra edgy episode of Comments with Peter, sponsored by Miller High Life. I'm just kidding, I'm not sponsored. I don't want to get embroiled in a lawsuit with Miller. I hear he's a real piece of work. This Comments with Peter was going to be too edgy, so I had to drink some beer to take the edge off. I don't have writers. Alright, it's time to get down to business to defeat the Huns. Dear Peter, I want to stick my gun in your face too, and by gun I mean vagina. Thanks. Wow, no one's ever said that to me before. Hey Peter, if you die to death, can I have your real African fancy lion? Well, unfortunately, Ziti is no longer living with me. I couldn't afford to keep paying off the loan I had to acquire to purchase him, and so I had to send him back to Zimbabwe. Don't mind me, just leaving a comment to boost your video's engagement metrics. I once killed a goldfish by putting on my shoes. My foot got wet. I put my foot in the fish bowl. Rest in peace, Mr. Fish, 1993 to 1993. Well, at least he lived a long and prosperous life. I hope you don't die, Mr. Cutie Cake. Sad face. Well, unfortunately, Woofser, one day I will die. But that's not gonna be for a while. I got plenty of time left. I love your reviews, Peter. They are more rare than a Bigfoot. Yeah, I just wish they were as popular. No regrets. Peter, my dude, set aside some cheese money for new shoes. I did. But then I spent it on cheese.
My neighbor's dog is annoying as fuck. Look at him scraping his feet. He fucking thinks that he's tough. He's always running his mouth, barking at kids, and his owners don't care. Yeah, they just don't give a shit. People who let their dogs bark should be shot. Deal with your dog, you fucking bucket of cocks. I'm sick and tired of the noise.